What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Shop Mini RC. I'm Ken, and today we are looking at something awesome. Boom, a new FMS product. Totally new platform, and it's got the FMS awesomeness going on here. All the quality and cool features you would expect from an FCX, but in an FMT. FMS monster truck? We think so. Let's get this guy open. Boom. Now, I know that box opening was a little fast, so we're going to go through it a little bit more in detail here. This thing is awesome, guys. Freaking sweet. So there's little tabs on the back here to open it up, kind of like the FCX 24s. You just squeeze on this, and it pops right open. Okay, and in the front here, it just slides in. So this little tab here slides into this bracket, which is adjustable. You can see right there, we can adjust it up and down. Same with the rear, adjust it up and down. Let's start with the body, guys. This body is freaking sweet. Okay, it is a 24 scale body. Let me get an FCX real quick. So first off, we got the Smasher, right? Let's look at this guy. Boom, now we have a lexan top for the Smasher. It'll fit on there perfect. You just got to find a way to mount it, so we'll need some body mounts. But wheelbase, yeah, buddy. Look at her. Freaking sweet. I love that. On the contrary, flip side, contrary, whatever, you could try to hard body this guy. Yeah, buddy. Again, you'd have to figure out a way to mount it, but hey, it's a thing. So that's pretty sweet. What else we got here? Here's the LC80. I'm not going to pull that off because it's a little hard. So the wheelbase is a little stretched on the LC80. So, but you can make it work. Pretty cool. And then obviously the K5, it's the same as the Smasher as far as the wheelbase is concerned. But yeah, definitely a smaller body. It's a true 24 scale body versus like the K5 is almost an 18 scale. So yeah, definitely sweet. This will work perfect on like an FCX or an SCX or anything that's you want a smaller body on. But that's not what this is about. This is not about the body, guys, even though this body is freaking awesome. It's about this guy here. I mean, come on. How cool does this look? We're going to dive deep into it. Just to show you some wheelbase. Bam. There's the FCX 24 wheelbase versus the FMT24 wheelbase. Sitting a little wider on the FMT because, well, it's a monster truck. It's really a basher is what it is. It's a mini basher, which is freaking sweet. All right, I got to get into this for you guys because it's too cool. It's a 2-speed. It uses the FCX 24 transmission. Let's go ahead and, well, here, I'll turn it on real quick for you. So you got the 2-speed. If you got the kids running it, or maybe if you're trying to do some crawling, probably not going to do crawling because you got open diffs here. If you know anything about open diffs, they don't crawl well. But I don't know, maybe you could open this guy up, throw some real thick greaso in there, or what, silicone or something, and lock him up. I'm sure you can lock him up. You just don't want to ruin it, right? Like, Still like to have the independent open diff so that you could bash it, but pretty cool. And then when you want that speed, and this is brushed. There's something I want to point out. So you see on the box right there, brushed, brushless, brushed, brushless. Also, it comes in black, white, and blue. So yeah, shift servo and steering servo. See our shift servo working there. It's got a neutral, so you can rev at your buddies. Make it sound like you're waiting at the starting line. You're like, ready to do some drop. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing that because it's like a real car. You'll grind some gears, but pretty freaking sweet, guys. Got a drive shaft that runs all the way down. It is a locked drive shaft, so there's no diff in the drive shaft. So that's the thing, but you do have your open diffs on your axles. Pretty sweet. This battery here, look at this guy. Another just cool option for batteries for shape, and if you're looking for like a trail rig battery, 900 milliamp hours, guys. It's going to run you for quite a while, and it's got a good shape to it. You know, there's a lot of places you could put a battery like this on a mini crawler. But yeah, so tons of great runtime. Dig that. Here's our electronics. Looks like there may be a spot for a little bit of a LED light kit if you wanted to. It is kind of weird how they mounted this in here. It's like there's not really a spot for it. It just kind of sits on top of the drive shaft housing. But it works, no biggie. And then we got this beast in here, this 370 brushed motor. I can't wait to see what the brushless does. Man, they're going to throw a brushless on this guy. It's going to be nuts. This thing already rips. We've already ripped it around a little bit after we box opened it. And I'll tell you what, this thing is a blast. Obviously, double A-arm suspension, front and rear. The shocks feel pretty smooth. Pretty sure they're oil filled. We're going to pop that off. We'll pop a wheel off. We're going to kind of dive in here a little bit. But yeah, just a little bit of an overview here. This wheelie bar, look at the wheelie bar. It's adjustable. Just pop the screw out, slide it up and down. You can adjust your wheelie bar. That is pretty sweet. Super flexy front bumper. Super flexy. So that's good. The chassis feels pretty stiff for being a plastic chassis. I'm trying to give it a little bend here, and it'll flex. What you want in a basher, you want a little bit of flex, but it's not super stiff, not super flexy. You don't want it too flexy because then it's sloppy, but you don't want it too stiff because then it'll break. So I think this is going to be good. I'm trying to show you a little bit here, but yeah, exciting. There's also, let's see what else. The drive shaft. We're going to open that up. We'll see what that looks like. I don't know how much we're going to take apart on this guy right now in this video. We do have a bunch of upgrades. Aluminum upgrades. So A-arms, knuckles. What else we got here? And some steering links. So we'll do this in another video. So make sure you like, subscribe, share. Do all those things you do on videos that you enjoy and channels you want to support. And that'll let you know when this video goes up as well when we do the upgrades. You definitely want to see that if you're interested in this little guy. Let's get some wheels and tires off. Actually, before we do that, I do just want to go through the remote here real quick. This is one of the basic FMS remotes, no dip switches, stuff like that, but it's all programmable through button presses. Right off the bat, though, you do have your steering trim and your throttle trim and dual rates. You basically do your dual rate by holding the steering wheel one way or another while you do it. Same with your throttle. So pretty simple. And then through bind presses and reverse presses, you're able to set your endpoints and your drag brakes and your drive mode, forward, brake, reverse. All that stuff is in here, and binding is super simple, right? You just hold the bind button, turn it on, then turn on the truck, and you'll bind right up. Super simple remote, very easy to use. I do like the size of this remote. You can one-handed steer very easily. These are very, very common remotes among FMS products, so most of you are pretty familiar with it, but if you're not, these are great little remotes. They're awesome because you can throw them in your bag. They run on AAAs. Four AAAs, very simple to use. They're comfortable. I really like how they feel for how small they are. They're fantastic. They don't feel like a toy grade remote. They definitely feel like a hobby grade remote, but a ready to run remote. There's also different wheels. You can swap it out if you don't want foam, do want foam, want a steering thumb thingy, all that kind of stuff. Tons of different options because these are very, very common remotes. So they work well, and that's why we see them all the time. All right, now let's dive into this guy. So our wheels come off with a 5.5 box. What size wheel hex? Look at that. Ooh, 7mm. Same as all of our little mini crawlers, so we can pop something like this on here. As long as you can clear the knuckles, you'll be good. I mean, these are the new RC all-wheel drive weighted wheels. These are kind of crazy. We just posted a video on those, so check that video out. But yeah, boom. Looks like there's plenty of clearance in there for these. Not that you'd want to run these because you want light wheels for a basher for sure. But I'm just showing you've got tons of wheel options out there, which means you can also run these guys on your mini crawlers if you really want, which is cool. Not that these are probably the best crawling tires, but you could. What size diameter are these? These are huge. Let's look. Looks like we're right around a 1.5 inch. So 1.5 inch wheels. Let's see, how's our hex come off? Just like normal. Axle pin. Make sure you don't lose this little guy if you're taking the wheels off. Okay. Looks like all the hex screws are probably 1.5s. So it looks like we've got some like knuckle covers, knuckle brackets, and then that allows these to unscrew. These are probably going to be 2mm, is my guess. Yeah, these are looking like 2mm. You can pop these guys out. So ball joints. Very cool. I love when stuff is designed this way for upgrades. It's truly hobby grade. This is little, right? It's a little guy. It's a little tiny mini basher, and a lot of times mini bashers like this are toy grade. You don't have a lot of real good hobby grade mini stuff, and so it's awesome to be able to see that here. It looks like we might have a couple different sizes. No, this is still 1.5, so that's good. Let's go ahead and completely pull this knuckle out and just show you what it's about. Steering link. So that's what we're running in there. Looks like a CVD, which is good, but then dog bones on this end. Pretty typical for bashers, But we do have bearings in there, obviously. Bearings on both sides, so that's good. Let's go ahead and get this shock off here. See how the shock tower is there? It's a double mount. It's a hoop. So that gives a little bit of extra strength, which is nice. Definitely some oil fields there. It also comes in our little bag with our charger and our T-wrench deal here with some preload rings, preload colors, so you can preload your shocks if you wanted to. I don't see any real reason to do that here, but you could. We'll see how these guys hold up, see if they leak over time or if they just kind of hold up pretty well. We won't know until we've run it for a while. We've been running it a little bit, no leaks yet, so that's good. Kind of trying to determine how far we want to go here. Do we really want to open this guy up all the way right now? Ooh, look at that. Bam. There's our C cup. So that just slides right out. Looks like it's keyed. So it's got a square edged notch there. Cool, cool. Man, these are super smooth. It's like so smooth. Freaking love it, man. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and stop here. We don't want to open this up all the way because we still got to get some running video. And we are limited on time right now. But at some point, we'll definitely open this guy up. We'll probably do a replacement or upgrade video at some point. So definitely keep an eye out for that. We are going to do the upgrades for all the aluminum stuff that we got for it. These dog bones seem to have a pretty good angle on them. See that? See it in there? The dog bone with no binding. So at full extension seems to be pretty good in there. This thing handles really well from the little bit that we've driven it already. It handles really well. And it's super cool that we get the FCX 24 or 18 transmission. Like, that's freaking awesome because it means there's already aftermarket support from a gear standpoint. If you want to run different gears in there, all that kind of stuff. You know what I do want to do? I do want to see what's in here. I bet you it's all the plastic gears, but let's give it a look. Here, before we do that, I'm going to get this guy back together, then we'll give it a look. Now, before I get this guy all the way back together, I figured I would get a shock measurement here. From center to center, we are right at 42, 41 and a half, 42. Yeah, that's like 42 millimeters. Fully extended and then fully compressed, we go down to 30 and a half maybe. So that's pretty good travel there. I also wanted to point out that you can pull these knuckles off without having to pull off the covers here. They're basically the ball joint covers. You can go ahead and just, there's a hole there and you can unscrew it straight through there and pull your whole knuckle off without having to pull these off. So just if you're looking for a quicker way to get it apart for maintenance or replacing a dog bone or something like that, don't have to pull those off if you don't want to. One thing I do wish is that there were multiple shock mounting points, maybe on the A-arm here, so you could adjust your shock geometry a little bit. That would have been nice. You might be able to lift the bulkhead, like shim under the bulkhead here. Let me look real quick. Get this guy back in there. Bam. I wonder if this whole bulkhead, see there's two screws here, maybe this shock mount up here, the shock tower mount, can pop up. And you could raise it if you wanted to. Now, that's not going to really change the geometry a ton, like in and out, but it will raise and lower the truck. If you wanted to lower it, you could shim underneath this. It looks like, yeah, this guy comes right out. And so you could lower your truck by shimming underneath there, right? Not that you'd want to, but maybe if you're racing these guys, you want to get a little bit lower of like doing carpet racing, off-road carpet racing or something really cool like that. That would be so fun. We used to do that with the Mini Bees quite a bit, and I really miss it. I loved the off-road carpet racing with the little guys. It's so fun because you can build a good track without needing a ton of space. Like we were actually doing it in a little hobby store that was in a mall, and there was plenty of space, and we just had little ramps that were made, some cardboard ramps. We had some like little wooden ones that were made and some plastic ones, and man, it was a blast. And so like if you want to do that with these little guys, maybe you want to lower it a little bit. If you don't need quite as much clearance, you could do that. You could shim under there. Looks like the rear is exactly the same, so you can shim up underneath the rear as well. So that's good. You can put little spacers in there to lower it. Now, you're not going to be able to raise it more, but I don't think you're going to want to because these dog bones look like they're getting pretty close to maxed out. So no reason to really raise it. It's not a true monster truck per se, like a smasher monster truck, like a Bigfoot. It's more of a basher, you know, rally style, off-road stadium truck style maybe, which maybe FMS should consider doing a SCT, mini SCT now that we've got this platform. Yeah, buddy. It's kind of what this is already, kind of. Pretty sick. Okay, transmission, I guess. Now let's see how this guy comes out of here. This might be a little rough. Just because of the way the drive shaft works. Yeah. Curious what all needs to happen to get this guy out. All right, let's go ahead and pull off our electronics. So they're using little bullet plugs for the motor. Cool, cool. And, wonder if we can just pull up these two screws here for the drive shaft cover. And then we can see what's going on. All right, we may have to pull this off back here as well. I'm digging that all these screws are the same size so far. I think I mentioned that before in previous videos. Just, I really like when they're able to do that. Try to keep the screws the same size. It makes it putting things back together so much easier because you're not worrying about, oh man, this is a 5mm and this is a 4mm and which one goes where and things like that. So, oh, there are screws under here to pull off the rear bulkhead. The same size? Yep, all the same. I'm loving it. All right, what's next? What's next? Cannot tell. Do we have to pull these 4 screws out? I wonder if these are like super long screws that are going all the way through. Guess we'll find out, huh? No, they're just little shorties, same size. Okay, well, I guess we'll see what happens when we pull this off. This looks like it's just a skid plate, so maybe once we pull this off, there will be screws underneath there, holding the rear diff all together and the bulkhead. So that's going to pull the whole rear apart. So that's cool. Let's see what's going on here. Is this all one piece? This might all be one piece. That might be part of the issue. Is that this drive shaft cover is part of the rear bulkhead. Okay, well, there's that. And there's our drive shaft. Little dog bone. I know you guys can't see it. Here we go. Okay. This guy pull out of our diff. Don't know yet. Next is our shift lever. That's kind of an issue. Is there an easy way to get the shift lever out? Your kingpins just pull right out, which is interesting. I don't know if there's something specifically holding them in there. But once you get those out, you're able to pull off the whole rear. And I'm sure the front would come off the same with the exception of the servo stuff. So very cool. Be careful when these little C-cups pop out. There is a washer in here. I don't know if you can see it, but this has a little washer right there. So just be aware that you don't lose that little washer when your C-cup comes out. We're able to pull this guy out, just slides right out, and then we should be able to get our shift linkage off. Just like so. So remember, when it goes in, you want to put it in like this and then turn it down, and that'll get you over your shift linkage. All right. I wish these were color coded in some way. Looks like we have a white here. Here, let's do this. So we have a white motor wire here, black motor wire here, and then the motor wires themselves are actually not marked. It also looks like they're not necessarily marked here. We could always just reverse it, but I'll go ahead and just put a silver line here. So this silver tells us we plug into the white on here. All right, got her out. Let's go. Actually isn't too bad once you know what you're doing. The first time might be a little rough, but then after that, super simple. All right, let's go ahead and open up the front and see what it looks like in there. Are we metal gears or are we plastic gears? Now, my guess is we're plastic gears. But like I said before, being that this is a normal FCX24 transmission, well, with a big motor on it, we should be able to throw the normal FCX 2418 metal gears into this guy, which would be pretty sweet. All right, here we go. Metal or plastic? What? No way. Metal gears, guys. Wow, FMS is killing it lately, guys. Holy crap. Well, at least this stuff is metal. It looks like the one down inside here. Nope. All metal, guys. All metals. And look at how greased up that guy is. Oh, good job, FMS. Freaking sweet. Wow. Killing it. FMS is killing it. The metal gears are such a bonus. Such a freaking bonus, guys. I'm glad we opened them up. How sweet is that? Metal gears. And at the price point this thing's at, oh, dude. So it's all metal driveline, it looks like. Because I guarantee you these are metal. Because if these weren't metal, they'd shred so quick. Oh, that gets me even more excited. Freaking sweet. That means the brushless one's already ready to, handle it. The transmission, it's already ready to handle the brushless when it comes. Freaking cool. How excited are you guys for this thing? It is so fun. I mean, like I said, just running it, and then now that we know it's got metal gears in the trans, like what? So you could drop this little guy out or pick one up, because they're going to sell them, as replacements. Just pick this up, pop these guys off, throw the freaking thing in FCX or on a smasher. Oh my God, it will rip. You'll definitely need metal diff gears for that. But freaking cool, guys. 370 motor mount. Awesome. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm excited. So getting it back in actually wasn't too bad. We were able to just kind of tilt the motor forward, get it onto the shift linkage, drop it in, and then we just used our driver to kind of lift up on the drive shaft and make sure that our dog bone was aligned, and we were able to just kind of slip it onto the dog bone and drop it in. No problem. Very easy. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get our screws back in here. And then I think we're going to try to open this guy up. All right, so we've got this guy all back together. We got this guy out. And the diff still doesn't want to come out. I think these two mount screws here might be holding us back a little bit. So let's get these out. Basically the shock tower screws. These guys do look like they might be a little longer than all the other screws. So this is kind of our first, yeah, they're button heads too, or cap heads versus button heads. So there's a difference there. My guess is that was holding in both the shock tower and the diff housing. Yeah, there it is. Comes right out. Our C-hubs and our little washer here. That's already on the C-hub. Okay. And there's our diff. Let's see, how does this guy come apart? Oh, yeah, obviously it's these rings. So these rings hold it all together. So we'll just slowly try to pull these guys off. There's an O-ring on there. And this guy will come right out. There you go, O-ring. And then the ring comes out. Should come right off. This one's a little tighter than the other side. Oh, there we go. Just gotta try to work it off straight. If you can't it at all, it's gonna get stuck. So you definitely gotta work it off as straight as you can. All right, there's that. So there's our metal pinion at the end of the drive shaft. Nice and greased up. There's our diff. Let's take a look at this so you know. Always put your diff ring back the side it's on. If you flipped this for some reason, if you pop this out and you're putting it back together, you put it over here, you're going to have problems because that axle will go opposite of what it was. So that could be super bad, but there's our diffs. I wonder if these are the same as the Max Smasher diffs. That could be super sweet. Got ourselves some FCX24 AliExpress spool and diff. And look, I'm pretty sure they're the exact same size. So what does that mean? More options for the FCX platform and existing options for this guy. Freaking sweet. So if you wanted to lock these up for some reason, you totally could. Wow. How awesome is that, guys? Freaking sweet. Man, can I say it again? Hell, put it down in the chat with me. Down in the comments below, you need to write, FMS is killing it. Jeez, man, they're killing the mini game right now. FMS is killing the mini game. Wow. That's so sweet. Like, I love it when you're able to use parts across different platforms, right? Like, this is a different platform. This is not a crawler. This is not a mini crawler, not even close. It is a straight up mini basher. But look how many shared parts there are with our mini crawlers, which means our mini crawlers get new options because there's parts people are making for these. And it means these are getting options that are available for the mini crawlers. Like, that is so freaking awesome. I cannot say it enough. So freaking sweet, guys. I love it. I love it. It also means you don't have to buy so many different parts. Like, you can just have a stock of spools and diffs and transmission parts, and boom, you're good to go. You can throw it on this. You can throw it on a crawler. You don't have to keep separate parts for each one. Obviously, they're proprietary parts here, but I mean, as much as they could, shared parts. Freaking awesome, guys. All right, let me get this guy back together. We got to drive it. So getting this guy back together is pretty simple. Once you've got it mounted up, we got our rear shock tower mounted to the top, which is holding in our diff housing. And then we can basically just get our dog bone lined up and drop it in there. Once your dog bone's slid in, it should drop in fairly easily. If you need to, you can turn your drive shaft just a little bit. There we go. And then it'll drop right in. You can slide these guys right down into the chassis. Now, we did lose one of our C hubs here, so let's find that. So we got our C hub and our washer. We can stick that guy back in here. With the shocks and all that, it does make it a little more tricky. But we should be able to get this guy in here, no problem. Jeez. All right, I got it. Now our C cups are in there. We can tuck our dog bones in. And our A-arms. Slide our kingpins in. The kingpins are interesting because they don't seem like there's anything that's specifically holding the kingpins in. Whoops. So I don't know what's going on with that. They just kind of pressure fit in there. We'll get there in a second. I guess we also could have screwed in our diff case here. We like to do things the hard way, apparently. Okay, and that guy just tucks down. Your screws go right in there. Oh, this is what holds them in. There we go. That's what it was. That makes sense. I was kind of worried. I was like, these kingpins could just kind of pop right out. But once you've got your skid plate on there, they're not going anywhere. So that's what does it. Pretty sweet. All right, let's get our screws in here. We got our 4 screws, 2 screws in the sides here to hold on that kind of bulkhead, and 2 more that go there. We're good to go. All right, it's all back together. All said and done, pretty simple. It's not too crazy. It's got a pretty low part count, actually, so there's not tons of parts, which is nice. A lot of the screws are all the same. I mean, all the screws so far were the same with the exception of these top 2 here, and then probably these shock screws. But everything else was pretty much that same length screw. We just need to get our motor plugged back in. Remember, we marked our white side. There we go. And then we've got this one. We can tuck it all back down. And then we've got to mount this thing. I kind of wish there was a better way for them to have mounted the ESC. If you go aftermarket with an aftermarket transmitter and receiver, you can use a micro and it'll mount. You can mount it right here, right here. You'll have no problems. Probably mount it right on top here. So plenty of options if you get a micro receiver. And there it is. Got our bullet plugs tucked back in there. The receiver had plenty of stick still, so stuck it back on there. We may need to get some more sticky tape and put it on there after a couple runs or something if the dirt gets in there, but we should be good. One thing you need to be aware of is your shift linkage goes right through here. So make sure your bullet connectors, if you pull those out and put them back in there, they're not hitting on your shift linkage down in there. It's kind of hard to see, but it is right here. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see with the lighting right here, but right down in there. And yeah, so just make sure you're not hitting on that when you're shifting. Let's make sure everything's still working. Let's check real quick. Check. Yeah, looking good. Yeah. All right, let's get it back together. We're gonna go run it. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, the deep dive into this. We'll probably show the front end. We'll disassemble the front end in another video at some point. I'm sure we'll break something at some point, but seems good for now. I mean, we beat it up pretty good. I know we didn't have a real long run video. It was getting super cold outside. Snow was starting to come down, and it was getting dark. It was just bad timing. We were told this wasn't going to release for a little bit longer, like probably 15 days longer, but they just let us know a couple days ago that it's pretty much going live like tomorrow. So I figured I got to get some running video, get her done, show you guys what she's about. I mean, she's awesome. She's pretty amazing. Definitely worth checking out. Even if you're not really into bashers, but if you're into small scale stuff, this thing is freaking fun. It is a blast. And I think you could do a lot of really cool stuff with it. Even if you wanted to have an IFS, independent front suspension type crawler, you can convert this over to locked diffs, change it over so it's not such a basher type truck, and get a crawler out of it. I think maybe we'll get another one and do that. I definitely want to keep one as a basher though, because it's just too fun in the backyard. I'm going to probably get another one. Definitely going to pick up a brushless when it comes out, just because it's brushless. You got to get it. But I want to have at least two so we can run them in the backyard, because it's just not as fun to run it by yourself, right? You got to have two. So we'll probably pick another one up soon. And yeah, what color should we get? Tell us down in the comments below which second color we should get. Yeah, and definitely keep an eye out for our upcoming upgrade video showing putting the aluminum stuff on there. To be honest, I'm not usually the biggest fan of all aluminum stuff, although look at this guy. We do have a Mini B that is all aluminum'd out, and it's a little donked out, I guess. Kind of funny. But this is a Losi Mini T, not a Mini B, excuse me. Mini Bs are a little bit longer, but just to compare size even, right? Like, look how little this guy is. It is small. This is small for sure. So, wheelbase. So if you know what a Losi Mini T size is, this guy's got big old tires and wheels on it, but it's definitely smaller than that. Here's a Mini B. So you can see the size difference there as well. What am I doing? There we go. Pretty good size difference, right? The length is just so much longer on the Mini B. Although the truck, it's a truck versus a buggy, so it's high. It's definitely tall. Oh, this guy too. This Colorado from EZRC. So when I heard that FMS was announcing the FMT, I was like, oh, and they said it was a 124 scale, and I thought it was going to be this. I'm like, this is an 18th or 16th scale. Do not call it a 124th. It's not that, though. It is definitely a little guy in comparison. Look at that. Tiny, tiny, tiny. It's so cool. This thing is so fun. Anyway, guys, if you didn't put down in the comments below, FMS is killing it earlier. Now that you're at the end of the video, or you can do both if you want, I don't care. Why don't you go ahead and put down there, smash it, crash it, and bash it. Or one of them. Pick your favorite. Do you like to smash them most? No, we just bash them, right? Smash them, crash them, and bash them. Yeah. Either way, pick one, put it down there. That tells me that you watched the whole video. The idea behind this was smashing is your crawler rolling down the hill, smash it. Crashing is your race car, and then bashing is obviously your bashers. Anyway, guys, get out there. Definitely check out the link below. Great Christmas present. I don't know if you'll get it before Christmas. It's getting really soon, so hopefully. And if not, get one anyway. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell. Do all those things you do at the end of videos you like. Thanks a ton for watching. Get out there and do something awesome. Take care. Peace.